Strategy fails when your nervous system is in threat. Here's the 90-second fix that changes everything. Welcome to the Glovisor Podcast, where we explore business growth, communication, and personal development through real conversations with people that make an impact. Our guest is an executive rest strategist who helps founders and leaders downshift their nervous system in 90 seconds so they can make decisions under pressure. After building a 7-figure real estate investment and property management firm, she now teaches practical regulation tools that reduce decision fatigue, steady communication, and protect execution quality. Her work is built for serious operators who want clarity, calm leadership, and sustainable rhythm. Glovisor welcomes Shalece Daniels. Welcome.
Thank you, Joe. That was such a great introduction. I appreciate that.
Pleasure to have you. All right, Shalece, we're dying to find out, what is it that you do?
I help leaders downshift their nervous system in 90 seconds or less. So to make that short, quick, easy is I help you learn how to blow bubbles again. We do a lot of breath work, and the fastest, easiest way to teach someone how to do a thing or a protocol is through doing something that's fun. So I brought in bubbles, and I bring in bubbles to organizations at long, large boardroom tables. And I have executives in suits, gray and black and blue, blowing bubbles so that they can feel regulated again.
I've spent a lot of time in boardrooms, and I've never seen anyone blow bubbles before. So tell us how this all started. What inspired you to take this path?
Sure thing. So Joe, first I want to let you know that I do much more than blowing bubbles, but I like to bring people in by knowing that that is a part of our work world today. Too long, far too long, we ignored that part of us, the joy, the rest, the calm, downshifting the nervous system, or de-stressing is what most folks call it. But the reason why it's so important to me is because I burned out. I don't necessarily care for using the word burnout because it's overused. But I was having a mental health event in 2020, December of 2020, probably longer than that, and I just didn't realize it. We're not so in touch with our bodies. We're not so in touch with what's going on with us. And so by the time I was able to take a 3-week vacation, that's what it was supposed to be, I didn't come back for about a year. And so I stayed in Costa Rica, is where we took the vacation, for an entire year because I could not bring myself back. During that year, I risked my business. At the time that I left, my business wasn't a 7-figure business. It was a 6-figure, mid-6-figure business. And then I went away, and for about 3 weeks, I tucked my head under the sand, and I didn't come up for air. And at that time, I was like, I don't care what happens. Now, take into consideration that I'm paying bills. I have staff. I have a family that I'm supporting some of the expenses, and I didn't care what happened. And at the time, I didn't know what was going on with me. I just knew that I couldn't produce anymore. When I had an opportunity to relax, and what I know now is downshifting my nervous system, I was able to come back up refreshed and make better decisions. And that's when I started putting systems in place. I planned to stay just a week longer, but that week turned into a month, which turned into another 30 days and another 30 days and another 30 days until it had been a year before I came back to my home and to my family. But here's another thing. About 5 months in, I actually superseded my revenue for the first time ever. And about 7 months in, I doubled it, and I was at the 7-figure mark. 12 months, we were over and above that. And it was only because I allowed myself the spaciousness to look at my business with different eyes, with calm, stress-free, or far less stress, right? Are we ever really stress-free? With far less stress and understanding how to manage my insides, and I was able to make a lot more money.
So you were running the business remotely from
I
Costa
was.
Rica,
Yep, I was.
and it had that growth while you were still in Costa Rica.
It did. It did.
Wow.
Part of it, you and many other operators know that part of it is that we're the issue. We're in it and we have our hands on every lever. And if we don't have our hands on every lever, we have our hands on too many. But
Sure.
when we step back and we hire people to pull those levers, usually better than us because their focus isn't sparsed in too many spots, we're able to do much better.
Can you tell us a little bit of what did it feel like leading up to that moment where you recognize that there was an issue, that there's something that should be addressed?
Cabin fever. I thought I just needed to get out. I didn't have I was antsy like a kid. Like, I just wanna go. I wanna get out. I wanna get out. And once I got out, I didn't wanna come back. But cabin fever is the best way to describe what I had, what I thought I had.
Now you're in Costa Rica. You arrive there with the cabin fever,
Mhm.
and you start to recognize that something has to change, right? Something has to be different because I don't want to go back. I'm assuming that's where your feeling was at that time. When did that switch, that moment that made you realize and recognize that something else can be done?
When it was time to go to the airport, I knew I didn't wanna go. It was time to pack. It was time I was like, "No, I can't go back." I felt like I couldn't do it. And at that time, Joe, I was like, "I don't care what happens." That was the scary part. 3 weeks in, I was still working. I was still working remotely. I was hosting meetings outside thinking that, "Oh, I'm living the life," because I'm looking at palm trees and I'm seeing the birds and agoutis and different animals walk up to the porch. But, I didn't I felt like a kid. I was like, "Oh, if I could just get 1 more week." And then I went over to another part of the country, and I spent a week there, and I was like, "I can do this for 30 days." And at that time, like, during that week, I put some really elementary systems in place. And I'm gonna be transparent with your audience because they may have to do this. I FaceTimed. I did FaceTime meetings to see, to diagnose different issues that may have been happening at the house with the contractors. And that was different from me going on site or me talking to them through something. We would FaceTime. And that was the tiniest switch, but it starts right there.
That's where the switch happened, where you had recognized it. Now you're starting to do other different steps
Mhm.
to take different actions. Now, how long did it take before you realize maybe I need a system, not just recognition?
What are you talking about? FaceTime is the system. I put some systems in place. I put Asana in place because I knew I wouldn't be able to manage the team. So I had Asana manage the team and it actually did work. Hired someone to put Asana in place. And then I had someone on my team be the manager of Asana. If people weren't getting their tasks done, she would send it to them at the end of the night. And I was kind of out of that process. It was her job to make sure that they did the things that they were supposed to do. I remember putting in a system called Appfolio where we could get them to manage the projects, manage the properties, and the tenants could input their work orders if they had some things that were going on. We could collect rent digitally. At this point, I'm telling you, like very elementary systems, things that I should have been doing anyway. Um, and I recall just step after step after step. 30 days later, I was like, I don't want to go home. Okay, well, what's causing me? What's taking the most time? Boom. Okay, let me try to find out how I can systematize this or do this in an automated or remote fashion. Another 30 days comes, and at this point, I'm leasing a house.
Mhm.
And another 30-day lease comes, and are you going to sign or are you going to leave? And I'm like, no, I'm not ready yet. Like, well, what else? What's costing me the most time? What else can I put in place? Oh, okay, there's this really neat platform, Appfolio. Other people can collect rent. It can be done digitally. Okay, put that in place. Those are the things I remembered. If there were like 30-day shifts after 30 days just to keep me out of the business, I did whatever I had to do.
You stopped working in the business and worked on the business.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
the shift.
Yeah. I had to have something like the carrot had to be dangled in front of me. I needed something
Yeah.
right? Instead of pain, we never really experienced pain because pain will make you move.
Hmm.
Pain will make you move. But it was, I guess, in a way, it was pain, Joe. Think about that. The pain of getting on that plane and coming back home. But
Absolutely.
it was the carrot that was being dangled of me being able to walk and ground in the right at the ocean on the beach, on the black sand beach every morning around 5:30. Watch the sunrise. Those are things that I didn't want to leave.
Can you get us on the same page? What is Asana?
Sure. Asana is a project management system. You may have heard of Monday or Trello, or there's a myriad of systems. People even turn Notion into their Asana. But it is something that you put in a task. You can voice note it. It has AI. You can type it in. You can do it with your mobile phone. There's so many ways that you can put in a task, and you assign it to a person, and that person ticks it off as if you're in charge of their checklist.
You created a system while you were there or the 90-second process while
Yeah.
you were there. And now you've scaled it into a corporate training.
So interesting. I'll tell you a little bit more about how the 90 seconds came to be. I didn't create that while I was there. Joe, I didn't even know what the heck I was doing while I was there. I didn't realize that every experience that I was having was leading me up to this point, which is obviously leading me to my next point, which I don't know what it is. Something great. But I knew that I was taking in techniques of breathing, of pausing, of grounding, of understanding what it's like to create electricity when you're rubbing your hands together. Those things became skills that I would use for my next career, which was business coaching. I didn't go right into rest coaching. I took a pit stop of about 3 or 4 years into business coaching because I had gotten out of my business and had been very successful in doing so. So now I was going to be the little missionary to get all the founders out of their business. So I became a certified business coach in 2021.
Okay.
I was successful in coaching some businesses and getting their revenue to be driven farther than they had imagined, which is what a business coach does. Like even a mediocre business coach can probably get you farther than where you are. You just need to make that step to have that accountability. Anyhow, I digress. The question was, how did I get to the 90 seconds? I'm getting there. Trust me. So then I noticed that a lot of the founders were just like me and they didn't want out. They didn't want to get out. They were addicted to the cortisol. They were addicted to being needed, to the status, to the title, to them building their baby and staying in to coddle their baby. And it exhausted me. And again, I felt that cabin fever of needing to get out, which actually you just helped me realize that it was cabin fever before I left. And I stopped. I put a bow around all my contracts after a while, and I didn't renew anything. And then I paused for a moment. And I took some really small boutique clients, just a few, and we did what I call longevity or reverse aging, which is what I've been into for a very long time. And so, in those boutique clients, they had businesses. And they asked if I could come in and talk to their businesses, their employees, about some of the things that we were doing. So I had to real quick come up with something that I could bring into their organization. And that's how the 90 seconds was born. Because in the meantime, I had taken the certification for neurosomatic intelligence, and it's applied technology. We talk a lot about the nervous system, and I learned about how in 90 seconds you could metabolize an emotion. And I took that, I packaged that for my clients' staff, and we went and I revolved everything around this 90 seconds, and I saw it actually work.
Mm.
And that's how the 90 seconds came to be. Now, at this time, I'm already going back and forth. I'm not in Costa Rica anymore. I'm going back and forth, half time in Detroit, half time in Costa Rica, or a little more in Costa Rica. But I'm able to serve my clients both in person and virtually.
Let's stop right there because there's something very interesting that you mentioned,
Mhm.
and I don't want to skip over it. You're reversing aging.
So that's a very controversial term, but I would say a longevity type of practice. So I researched, I followed up with I followed Dr. David Sinclair for a long time. I've been following his studies. Another guy who had gotten into some trouble, I followed him. There's 7 blue zones. That means they have centenarians. They live over 100 years. It looks like you already know. There's one in Costa Rica, and it's Nosara, Guanacaste. And so this is something that really grabbed my attention, the way that they live, the way that they move, community, how they eat. And I found out, how could I do that in my life? What does that look like for me? And it's weightlifting, cold plunging, it's being in community with people. It's eating a certain way. It and so as I did that, people began to notice there was a shift, and they started asking me about it. And they asked if I would take clients. They knew I was a coach, a business coach. They asked if I would take them on as a client. And I said, I'm not doing business coaching anymore, but if you want a rest coach, and that's what I called it, I can help you in that area, and we'll do longevity practice. So that's what we do. And I still have some clients in that practice.
Going back in time, or I guess slowing aging or changing the aging time, is that because you're eating properly, you're looking at the person as a whole and making decisions? Is that what you're doing?
That's it. We're doing and because of the wearable, and you and I, we talked about the wearable, we're able to really track numbers for nervous system or de-stressing. The more that you can de-stress, the longer lifespan you can live. Like, stress destroys so much, and it causes dis-ease. Dis-ease is caused by stress, disease, right? And so the more that we can decrease our stress, the longer we can live. And Dr. David Sinclair believes that aging is a disease. It's dis-ease on the body.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I know we didn't talk about going into this part, but that's how all of this 90 seconds came about. Because what can I do to help a corporate person or a founder, a tech founder, my clients that are running high driven every day, all day, in the amount of time that they're willing to give me, because they never have time. And that's where the 90 seconds came in, with them being able to downshift from all that stress in just 90 seconds. And the more they do that, they get that muscle memory. The more they do that, the easier it is for them to come down, the easier it is for them to de-stress, the longer the potential they have to increase their longevity.
So you mentioned the wearable. How does that integrate with this process?
For my private clients, we go a lot more granular. But for the clients in the corporate realm, we look at the heart rate variability. That's the length of time between your heartbeats. We know that our heart goes tick, tock. We measure the time between the tick and the tock.
Mm-hmm.
And the longer time that you have, and the healthier your heart is, that's a really good way to say it. But also, the faster you recover after a workout, your heart rate variability. So you're gonna go tick tock, tick tock, tick tock when you're doing any exercise. But the faster you're able to slow down the ticks between the tocks, the healthier your heart is. So there's 2 measurements with the heart rate variability, and then we measure the heart rate. And both of those things are being measured by the ring in the Edge to Ease kit that I give my clients, my private clients. And we also give this Edge to Ease kit to all of our corporate.
Can you tell us a little more about that?
The company is working on having it to be wearable agnostic, so that whether you're going through Apple Health, the Apple Watch, an Aura Ring, Garmin device, we're testing so that you can give me permission to tap into any of those things and just pull down the data that I need to help you downshift your nervous system.
Based on that, how do you communicate with the client after you've collected the data?
In version 1, we're sending a daily report to the client so that they understand where their CCI or clarity index is. And they have their numbers based on their baseline, whether they've moved up or down. And then they get a little story about here's where you are, here's what this means, here's what you can do to move to the next level. And it's usually about 5 lines because nobody has time to read a whole lot of stuff, but it helps them move to the next level. And day 2, it'll compare their baseline than the previous day. Day 3, it'll do the exact same thing and it'll send an auto report to them. Now, here's what the company is working on. We're working on them having their own dashboard. Right now, we have access to a dashboard that carries all of our clients, and it's this big, huge thing. But I'm working on giving access to each individual client, push access, so that they have the app on their phone that reads this information. But I want them to also be equipped with them interpreting that data the way that Edge to Ease interprets the data so they can be empowered all day, all week, or whenever, and not just wait on my report with bated breath.
Only select clients that work with you get the opportunity to have this, and some of the corporate clients.
Yeah. All the
Okay.
corporate clients, if they sign up for Edge to Ease, they get our kit. That includes the bubbles that we talked about a long time ago. It has wrist wear. It has a lot of different tools in there that help you downshift, and also a system that just a nice reference card tool that you can refer to so that you can learn how to use all the tools. But it also has now the ring is inside of that kit. And definitely all my private clients get that.
If one of our listeners wanted to work with you today, what would that journey look like?
So easy. You sign up through our website for a discovery call in less than 7 days. I could have your kits shipped to you and you could have your onboarding call immediately. So 1, 2, 3, and we'd be working together.
Now, if a whole family, let's just say, wanted to work with you, is that something where, are you thinking that the system will in the future have like a family system, or is this just for corporations?
This is the first time I've had that question, Joe. I think that it could be an extension of my private client because, believe it or not, I was just when we got on this call, you said, "How are you doing today?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, so much better than I ever thought that I'd be doing. Things are going so well. I just got off the phone with this organization that's doing the pilot." And do you know why I said that I didn't tell you? One of the reasons is because the CEO of this corporation that I'm piloting with right now was able to help her husband with his anxiety. And she told me it was okay to say it. I'm going to put it in the testimonial. But he was having an anxiety moment, and she reached for her Edge to Ease kit. She flipped through and said, "Here, use this, and in 90 seconds, you'll feel better." And it actually worked.
Wow.
The second thing is someone that worked in her organization was at church on Sunday, and her pastor's wife was having an episode, and she was able to take off the ring that I had given them, give it to the pastor, and run her numbers on her app on her phone and make sure that everything was okay. Come to find out, it was just vertigo. I don't know if you know what vertigo is. I just learned what vertigo was. But it was just an episode of vertigo. Her heart rate was okay, her blood pressure, and so on. And that's why I was like, this is working. It's not just impacting those people that have it, it's impacting the people all around them. So when you ask, will this be available for families? I believe that the private aspect already allows for the client and their entire family, as long as they have a ring and I can do an intake on them, I could potentially do the entire family.
That's great. So now I don't want to be one of those guys who spoils the future or talks about that, but are we thinking that this is going to market for the public in a year or two?
Yeah. If you mean by public, you mean like the Edge to Ease kit will be available on a storefront?
Yes, ma'am.
You're the second person. You're probably more than the second person, but there was this guy who's like, "You do a really good job. I think you should go on to TikTok and do a public version." And I told him that the sourcing is not as easy as it appears for me, someone who doesn't have widgets. I'm not normal, I haven't done this part before, so our team is slowly but surely learning. So the answer is, I don't know. I said all those words to tell you I'm not sure. Let's see what it morphs into. And if the demand is there, I absolutely will do it. If I can do it with the same quality and care.
No, this is exciting. It's nice to have an amazing product that you want to bring to the public, and you don't know where you're going to go with it, but you know that it's going to help a lot of people.
I hope so. It's already working. That's why I was
Yes.
excited when we first got the call. It's already working.
If listeners remember only one thing from today's conversation, what would you want that message to be?
90 seconds. If you don't remember anything else, remember 90 seconds. Look it up, Google it, you can ChatGPT it. It only takes 90 seconds for your body to metabolize any emotion, good, bad, or indifferent. And what I say is, in that 90 seconds, turn that thing that used to trigger you into a cue for you to stop and breathe. You don't need the edge to ease kit. You don't. You have something more powerful than anything my kit can give you, and that is your breath. Exhale longer than you inhale, which is what I teach with the bubbles. Exhale longer than you inhale, and I can just about guarantee you're downshifting your nervous system into that de-stress mode or parasympathetic nervous area without anything else. 90 seconds.
Now, where can audience connect with you and find out more about your work and continue this conversation?
Sure thing. They can go to my website. It's www.liveasif.co. And if you want to sign up for that discovery call, at the end of that .co/edge to ease. And you can find me everywhere on social, probably dancing or something on TikTok at Shalece L. Daniels.
Thank you so much for sharing. And Shalece, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of this information, because from now on, I will be doing my 90 seconds before every episode, doing my exercises in preparation.
Good.
So thank you so much for that and for all the value that you brought to our audience.
You're welcome, Joe. It's been wonderful. Thanks for having me. And now I know something that I didn't know before. What made you run to Costa Rica? I said, I don't know. I just wanted a vacation and no one was accepting American passports. You said, what was that feeling right before I went? And I said, cabin fever. I knew it. I had never been asked in that way and I had never articulated. It was cabin fever.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Now I know that I can be part of some big CEO's big success story.
I hope so. Oh God, I hope so.
Well, thanks everyone for listening. If this episode inspired you, share it with someone that needs it. And don't forget to follow the Glovisor Podcast for more conversations that make an impact. Till the next time.